I love this kind of cooking because if you've got people coming around, they walk into your home and they're like, oh, what's for dinner? I'm about to show you how to make a really delicious soup. It's made with Coles Aussie fresh prawns. Now they're responsibly sourced, so you can't go wrong with them. And then lots of delicious veggies. It all basically goes into a pot, so anyone can make this soup. But I promise you, when you serve it, everyone's going to be like, whoa, that was really good. So follow along. You start off with a little butter and you pop that into a pan. And we start with some onions. Onions and garlic are the base of so many dishes. Well, that garlic, as soon as it hits the pan, it just fills the room with this incredible aroma. Then we throw in our next ingredient, which is the celery. Now, the whole idea when you're building flavors in a pan, the way we are right now, is you start with the ingredient that takes the most cooking, right? So in this case, it's the onion, then the garlic, then the celery, then the fennel. So you sort of just add them in. I've got rosemary and thyme. And my spices. I've got a bay leaf, some chili flake, this fennel seed, I've just lightly crushed it, and then some black pepper. Now I've cut my fennel on a mandolin so it's nice and uniform, they're all perfectly thinly sliced, but don't worry, if you don't have a mandolin, you could even dice the fennel, that would work too, or just slice it. Just the more uniform you cut it, then the more evenly it'll cook. Mix that fennel through. If at any point you start seeing you caramelizing the vegetables, that's the time that you throw your white wine in. Now the white wine brings a beautiful acidity to this soup, it brings a beautiful tartness and sort of counteracts the sweetness of those beautiful Aussie prawns. I always say only ever use wine in your cooking that you would be happy to drink. So a dry white wine, a Riesling would be really nice, Sauvignon Blanc would be really nice in a soup like this. Now once you pour any alcohol into a pan, the alcohol will burn off as soon as it comes to boiling point, right? So you can see as this starts to simmer, you don't need to flambe it, you don't need to see a flame for that alcohol to disappear, you just need to bring it to a boil. Now if you don't want to use wine, I would just up the chicken stock a little bit. Of course you can use a fish stock as well. Personally I love the flavour of chicken stock in fish soup. If you wanted to use a vegetable stock, you can do that too. Next I add my chicken stock and my cream. This is already developing into a beautiful looking dish. You can see that thinly sliced fennel and onion. It's going to give it such a beautiful pop of texture. Let's have another taste. Oh yeah. So earlier I tasted it and the wine was still really present. It was still acidic and it was still quite bold. Now it's really balanced. That cream's rounded it out. The chicken stock has given it a really fabulous flavour. Of course, when you're tasting, you might think, does it need a bit more salt? Does it need a bit more acid? Because I could still put a squeeze of lemon. It's going to get even sweeter once we add these beautiful prawns. But see, the temperature that I'm holding this at is very, very gentle. It's certainly not boiling or bubbling away. Too crazy, you've just got a little gentle simmer going on, and that's protecting that beautiful round richness of the cream. It's time to add the prawns. Gorgeous. Aussie prawns, there's literally nothing better than it, and I love working with Coles. These are responsibly sourced, and the flavour of these prawns are just fabulous. Now, as soon as those prawns hit that hot broth, they start to cook. It's a one-way street. You can't stop them from cooking. They'll even continue cooking once you serve them. So you only want them in there for just a couple of minutes, and that is genuinely all you need. Pop the lid on, 2 minutes, and we serve. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I can't stress enough, don't overcook your prawns. Now, if you were serving in a beautiful pot like this, you might leave the lid on, take it through to the dining room table and call everyone in, right? But you want to get those prawns served pretty quickly because once they're done, they're perfect and soft. But if you overcook them, of course they will get a little bit tougher. I always start with sort of some of the solids because that's how you get a little bit of height. So pick up some of those prawns. And then you get some more of that broth and pour it straight over. Oh yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. Now the last thing that we do before we serve is we take some of those fennel fronds, just garnish that straight over the top. And as soon as those fennel fronds hit the hot soup, it releases another little pop of that aniseed flavour. It's so simple, but it's so tasty and delicious. Everyone you serve this to is going to be so happy. Bon appetit.